Thanks for riding along with me. I certainly appreciate you being here as always, and I don't know what I'm going to say. Welcome and thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here as always. Now, if you're new here and you're not aware of what this series is, this is my Automobilista 2 Tour of Brazil. And by Tour of Brazil, what I mean is for those who, like me, when they first started playing Automobilista 2, pretty much ignored all the Brazilian content. When I finally started digging into it, I found, wow, this is great stuff. A lot of fantastic cars, a lot of great tracks especially, and I wanted to share that with the community at large to make sure that I could stop as many people as I could from making the same mistakes I did. So I've got another great car and track combo loaded up here today, ready to drive. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Today we find ourselves at the Autodromo Internacional Ayrton Senna, otherwise known as Londrina, located in the state of Paraná. If you've watched some of my other videos, you may think, hey, didn't you already cover the Autodromo Internacional Ayrton Senna? Yes I did. But it was a different circuit. There are many circuits with that name in Brazil. Ayrton Senna is kind of a big deal there, and, well, also pretty much everywhere else. The history of Londrina goes back to the late 1980s as plans first gathered momentum as well as financial backing, with the national petroleum company Petrobras covering considerable portions of the construction costs in exchange for advertising rights. The track layout was designed by members of the local motor racing club, and construction began in April of 1992. The build was completed quickly, with the circuit officially opening in August of that year. Londrina was a previous fixture on the Brazilian stock car calendar and still hosts series such as Formula Truck and GT Sprint Race Brazil. The full Londrina circuit clocks in at 1.95 miles or 3.14 kilometers and features 10 turns, which are primarily arranged in two corner complexes at the end of parallel straights. While not excessively technical, the track makes good use of the natural elevation changes and features several deceptively fast corners. Our featured car today is the Copa Montana. While being based on the Chevrolet Montana, a light-duty pickup truck sold in Latin America, the Copa Montana is actually a tubular chassis purpose-built race car. The car was created to run in a feeder division supporting the Stock Car Brazil series, starting in 2010 and being ran through 2012. Despite its pickup truck looks, the Copa Montana is essentially a rear-wheel drive touring car. The car features a 5.7-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine producing 369 horsepower paired with a 5-speed sequential stick transmission. The Copa Montana weighs in at 2,998 pounds or 1,360 kilograms and does not feature traction control or anti-lock brakes. Alright, here we go for a quick race in the Copa Montana here at Londrina. Got 24 of these out on track here, starting P13. So let's see what I can do as far as moving my way up through the field. A field full of pickup trucks as it is, but no, not really. That is absolutely an illusion. As I mentioned in my intro, these are not pickup trucks at all. This is what you would call a silhouette vehicle. It's a purpose-built race car with a shell over the top that is, at least reminiscent of a production vehicle, but it is anything but. In this case, this looks like a pickup truck, but it is 100% a touring car, which makes sense, given that it was created to support the Brazilian stock car series, kind of like more of an entry-level support category to that series. And Brazilian stock car is also touring cars, which seems a little odd if you're in North America like I am. You hear stock car and you think of a totally different type of racing, say like NASCAR. But in Brazil, it means touring cars. And these absolutely fall right in line with that, which makes for a pretty, nice driving experience. With a fairly modern touring car, I think they usually drive pretty well, although this one here does not feature like traction control and ABS, so gotta mind your P's and Q's a bit, but I find it fairly intuitive to drive. And I think one of the things that really helps that is it's very balanced weight-wise. It doesn't suffer from a ton of weight transfer, body roll. You're not getting a lot of snap oversteer, not having to fight it coming out of corners, or out of braking zones, and especially when you're trail braking. It stays nice and stable for the most part. And if you do end up getting yourself into trouble, it's probably going to be because you a little heavy on the throttle, like mid-corner or corner exit. You know, that's where this can get a little touchy. But for the most part, if you just let off the throttle and let your tires re-engage grip, you'll probably be okay. I think the times I've mainly gotten myself into trouble with this car is like I'm trying to make an overtake coming into a corner and I just don't want to give it up and I keep my foot in it, and you know, you trade one potential spot for losing everything, and that's never a good trade-off. So, oh, pulling for a 6 here that I don't have. Alright, but yeah, don't do that, you'll be good. This is one of the first cars in a while that I've driven, and I thought, man, this would be a lot of fun in a league setting, like online. You know, I do most of my racing against AI, just single player, but that has more to do with just like logistics of my life and the time of day that I normally have to do my racing. But this just seems like it would lend itself very well. Oh, there you go, there's some of that getting loose in the rear end, fixed by taking my foot off the throttle. But anyway, what I was saying is, I feel like this would lend itself really well to league racing, with it being fairly intuitive. You know, you can get people out on track with varying skill levels, and you know, have everybody kind of have a shot at being competitive, having a good race. Just kind of want to create some parity, I think, just by the nature of how the car drives. And another benefit is it's got a ton of liveries. There's like 24 of them, so plenty to choose from there. You get a lot of people out on the track without having to repeat the same design, which, you know, not that that means a whole lot, but it's a nice little touch. Have everybody look a little different out there, but yeah, this would be a lot of fun as a league. It drives just so smoothly. And I think it pairs fairly well with this track here too. I'm pretty sure this is a track that at the time these would have been running, which would have been like 2010, 11, and 12. I think they actually did come here, because Stock Car Brazil doesn't race here anymore at Londrina, but they did up until about that time. So I'm pretty sure when I was looking through the calendars, I think that's why I actually picked doing this truck at this track, is that they did race here. And I mean, granted, that was just the calendar at the time, but it fits really well. I don't know. I'd have to test this at a few other spots to see if it, you know, I don't know, drives as well, but I'm pretty sure it would. But here in Londrina, it's a good match. Let's see if I can get close to this car here. Is it good? Oh, no, the Stewards didn't like that. I was definitely pushing it. Trying to get up on the inside here, because that corner that I just went through, that left, that is one of the two really good passing opportunities in this track. This corner here is my absolute favorite. This little right-left. Coming out left, you really just have a chance to gas it. Just drive it hard as you're kind of coming down that little hill, cut that corner. It is a lot of fun. Kind of one of those corners that makes you feel probably like you're working things a little more harder than you are. This corner is one of those deceptive ones where you can take it a bit faster than you probably think you could. Like when I first started practicing here, I was getting myself down into third gear coming through there, and after a while I realized, like, oh, I can come through fourth, like, just fine. In fact, I could even hang on to fourth coming through the next corner too, but you really fall out of the power band, so dropping down to third is where you're going to have the acceleration coming out of that corner, so that's what you want to do. But yeah, this is a fun little track. It's pretty simple. It really is just two kind of like parallel straights with some corner complexes slapped out in the end, and you know, they're not very complex, as it were. Fairly simple, but it's fun, especially for a car like this that has some power but not too much. And I mean, really, I drove a GT3 around here too in my practice, and that was a lot of fun. So maybe that has nothing to do with it. You can go and get anything out here and have a good time if you got people out here that'll respect the fact that it's a little smaller of a track. That's mainly what you need. Ooh, here we go. I love that. Almost feels like you hop a little bit coming down there. But yeah, this is a lot of fun to drive, especially this combination here. I think they fit very well. See if I can. I was gonna try to push it there and get past that car, but that was not gonna end well. Here, see if we can get up inside of him here, because this is the second like good passing spot. Oh, sorry about that. You can build me later. That was definitely a dive bomb. I could never have done that against an actual person. And I'm a bit ashamed of myself for doing it against the AI. But I wanted that spot. Guilty as charged. Alright, they're coming back here though, so it's not like I took them out. I feel a little bit better about it. Alright, let's see if we can get past them here legitimately. I thought I was going to have it there. Couple minutes left, so I made my way up to 7th actually. I didn't realize I had passed that many cars. That's better than I thought I would do. I've got the AI set here like 95, 100, something along that, and I found that, especially starting mid-pack, I usually find myself fairly evenly matched against the AI, you know, which is fun and that it makes it realistic. You know, I don't enjoy just blasting to the field, blowing everyone's doors off, like winning every race when I, you know, race against AI. Like, what's the challenge there, right? Like, I don't choose to race AI because I want to win all the time. It's just, again, the logistics of my life means that that's what I have to work with, for the most part. Obviously, I can do like iRacing or something and race any time of the day, and that's one of the things that game, that sim, is great for, but I don't know. I've barely crossed into that bridge. I digress. Talking about AMS 2 here, running these against AI. Which I feel like this sim does pretty well in the AI department. Much better than its sort of forebearer, if you will, in Project Cars 2. Which obviously, you know, for any reason you don't know, that as a game, Project Cars 2 runs off the same engine, but it was not made by the same developer. Slightly Mad Studios made Project Cars 2, Reza Studios made this. They just licensed the use of the engine, and they have definitely pushed it to new levels, especially in the AI department. That was, for me, the big downfall of Project Cars 2, which is a game I like quite a bit. You know, a lot of people complain about the physics, but for me that wasn't where it was at. It was the AI always let me down. They were super inconsistent, and Automobilista 2 just does it much better. They're more believable, they race better. So even though this is the situation I'm in, you know, I still find myself getting fairly pulled in. You know, you get pretty immersed into these races, even racing against AI. Alright, so this will be our last lap here. I really want to pass this guy. But I don't know if I'm going to get there. I don't think I will. And I'm driving this car terribly. Like, my little check engine light on my dashboard is already on. If I owned this car and somebody's driving it like this, I would be pretty upset at them. Like, this is not the way you treat a car. I'm way over revving it. Alright, see, right there, I was so tempted to give it too much coming to that corner, and that would have just been game over. And Stewart's ain't gonna like that one either. Nope. Cut that corner. But it's only my second warning, so it doesn't really mean anything. Alright, last time into this fast left-hander. Not a good line, though. Not going to get anywhere close to these guys. You know, in the sense of being able to possibly make an overtake. It's just not going to happen. That's alright. So this is the last corner here. P13 to P7. Had a lot of fun doing it. And that is always what matters. Thanks for riding along with me. I appreciate you being here as always, and I certainly hope you'll join me again soon, because I am not yet done going through all the great Brazilian content in Automobilista 2. We'll see you next time.